Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, news and entertainment with a buzz. We've seen that of lately, the JCF has been on a wipeout campaign to take out wanted men, gunmen, done extortionists. However, it seems as if a couple of persons seeped through the crack, one Mr. Amos known as Bull. Fast forward less than 24 hours ago, the JCF St. Andrews Central Division went on a special operation looking for a man known as Dino Sutherland, known as Barty in the streets. It is said that the JCF and the special operation crew was not going to make the same mistake that they had made in the past as it pertains to arresting this man. So therefore, they circle the area, corral the area, make sure that there is no sorts of escape points. When they reach the premises, they alerted the occupants in the house. Come out, put your hands up in the air. Don't try to be in any sort of shootout with the police. You are going to end up on the shitty end of the stick. It is said that all of the occupants in the house, at least 7 of them, including Mr. Sutherland, complied. They came outside with hands in the air. Police arrested them, took them into custody. They are waiting to be charged officially. I am going to let you hear what the SSP in charge of the operation, Damian Manderson, has to say about the whole thing, and then I am going to give my piece.
A nuisance in that community relative to the spate of murders and shootings and the gang activities affecting that space, especially throughout the month of January of this year. There was a joint operation led by specialized operations in the Kingston 10 here just yesterday around about 3 p.m. that led to his capture. He's currently in our safe custody, and our detectives are doing the necessaries to have him properly charged and placed before the court. He would have fallen out of grace with some of his own cronies in the Samarkand era and took up residence in 440 Drive, of course, being one of the key influencers and shooters for the Mark Harrison-led 440 gang. And so since then, we have been pursuing him, we have been tracking him, we have been doing our endeavor to remove him from the community because of what he brought to the table, which is nothing but chaos. We have launched several operations against him within that space. On one particular occasion, the team highlighted him fleeing from them, jumping fences, going through windows and all such. But we managed this time, of course, to get hold of him.
So people, you heard what the SSP for the era had to say. He said this man was in the Samarkand era in a gang around there. However, he had fallen out of grace and then he left. And he went across to 440 Balcom Drive and he was the top shotter for a man known as Mark Harrison, who happens to be the gang leader for that gang. People, it must be a very bad predicament whenever you are wanted by the bad men and also the cops. And most importantly, we have to commend the power from the JCF Special Operation. They were not going to make the same mistakes twice. Like you hear the SSP say, them chase him, them corral him before, him jump over a fence, jump through a window, disappear, poof, like Houdini. This man switched side from Samarkand and went to 44 Balcom Drive, and now he is the top shotter under the tutelage of one Mark Harrison, the gang leader for the Balcom Drive gang. People, the police is doing the work. The only sad thing is that they made them escape. Well, not really escape. They escape with their life. Most persons, including myself, don't want to hear that we are going to waste taxpayers' money, go through the whole court procedures, and then the next thing we know, there is no sorts of witnesses. Witnesses end up MIA. And even worse, the DPP drops or fumbles the ball, and these people are let out scot-free once again, just to continue the cycle that is very disturbing, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, there's a very popular saying in Jamaica, and it goes something like this. Whenever planting one dead, it SHOOTS. Well, it seems as if members of the One Daddy Badness faction is not dying fast enough. It seems as if they want to escalate, speed up the process even more, even though they're at a very bad, disadvantageous situation. Them a drop like fly. And this is based on some news that has been circulating all over social media, based on some threats that it is said was sent to the Superintendent of Police, Hopeton Nicholson. If you look at your screen, this is exactly what you see. Mr. Hopeton Nicholson, are you first we are get rid of Ussy? Una start war where una know una can't manage. Look how we are going to turn this place in a 80. We are going to show on a police boy what time it is. And believe it, it is one Daddy Badness signed AD. I think that is the last one that lost his life. Well, people, if he actually sent these threats, or these threats were generated by Photoshop, don't know the circumstance. Either way, he is gone. So therefore, even if it was not him that sent these threats, too late is the call. Now, people, here are the facts. Whenever there's any sorts of pie out, police versus gunmen, the odds are stacked immensely against the police. And this is based on scientific facts or survey. The police is batted maybe 99.999. Maybe they lose 1 in every 100,000 incidents in which they challenge the gunmen. You and I know that the gunmen are not ready for any sorts of smoke. You and I have heard all of the talk on social media. People jump up only to get BEAT down, only to get arrested, only to issue some sorts of public apology. At the state of affairs in Jamaica right now, if I was a gangster, I would have probably get some new line of work because this line of work is not working too well for these gangsters. So me just say, you sleep and mark DEATH literally because you're only signing your DEATH warrant when you make any sorts of threats like these. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that it is becoming more and more apparent that there is no sorts of safe space in Jamaica, in the church, in the jails, and worse, in the schools. The schools, a place of education, is now like a prison penal institution. And it was evident a couple of days ago, well, maybe about a week ago at Virtech that is in Clarendon. Based on information, it is said that a parent's child was missing a charger for a phone. That parent went to the school, which is Virtech, and she demanded to search persons, meaning the students' person, search their bag. Some of the students had a problem with it because of the aggressive nature of that parent. It seems as if that parent, well, it is obvious that that parent and a student got into an altercation. There was a man that also came there with the parents. He also joined the fight, and they were going back and forth, meaning the student in uniform, khaki, and that man and the parents. It is said that that student got juk up in him hand, in him face, and the back of his neck. I want you to take a listen, take a look to exactly what that student has to say, and also the aunt of that student, when they're explaining in intricate details all the injuries that they got, what was the reason, the motive for that altercation, and that there was no sort of response from the principal, the dean of discipline. Nobody took that child to the hospital. Nobody filed any sorts of official report to the police station. The parent and that child is demanding justice. I want you to take a listen, take a look to exactly what they had to say, and then I'll give my piece.
So they come across my side and ask me if you charge them, I say, this money charge them, I have to pay this money for more times. And then after that now, one man drive up now and AD back. Come up in my face and say, well, Batman go feature, Batman go feature. Yo, I'm not going to charge, I wait for the girl to come. Then he choke me, fight start, then me feel me get stabbed in my neck back. But in my face and palm, and turn around and say, a woman stabbed me. And then me nearly drop down there, so I go to the hospital. All the teeth fly out. All this man mess up and gone up.
How much stitches you get?
I get 6 in my hand, 4 in my face.
And you have a wound to your neck, man?
Yeah, but it's not really that serious.
That's the bad at the back?
Yeah.
The security never come and try to intervene?
No. Only one tax man and your money. You get a try party fight, but you never know say me. You get a try job me and 5 man.
I feel about this experience now.
You feel really bad.
I don't hear Mr. Lewin call and say anything to. We don't hear Mr. Lewin call. Mr. Lewin don't check up on it. Nobody check up on from the incident happened. The police and the dean of discipline, the school, they need to inquire more to find the young lady and find the parents that make this incident happen. These parents not protecting the children in society. You cannot leave from your home and come at school, nearly kill a boy, and then on a gun and nobody can find him. The police, they need to do something better, and the school need to inquire more about the little girl background.
Now, people, like I've always said, there are always three sides to every story. The side of the student is family member, the side of the teacher, and then the truth that is supposed to be done by some sorts of investigation by the popo. It is very apparent, obvious that Jamaica is not a safe place. The school is not a safe space. And this is evident by what we see happening on a regular basis on social media, in a news, and in a real life. This child was pretty much ATTACKED by a parent and a next man, an outer. That is not a student. Bad enough when two students go at it, but it even gets worse when a parent, a mother, a female, pulls out a kitchen utensil, juke up this youth a couple of times, even though that same youth had gotten a hold of some sorts of juking utensil and also rushed that person when he jumped back into that pro box. It is sad the communication that exists between student, parents, dean of discipline, principal, or whomever is involved. The protocols are not followed because if something like this happens at any sorts of school, a report is supposed to be made. That student is supposed to be rushed to the hospital by somebody responsible at that school. The report was not made. He was not taken by nobody at that school. No teacher, no principal, no dean of discipline. People like me say, it is very sad that you have your children going to school to get an education, but it seems as if that school is more like a penal institution. People are get FUCK up there, literally, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called men, women, especially older men, older women. Stop falling in love with the wrong person at the wrong place, or the wrong person, or being in the wrong place. The picture that you see on the screen is of a 37-year-old lady, Jem Cook. Her husband, Clayton Cook, 61-year-old, that is from Canada, a Canadian citizen. They both lost their life on Tortuga Drive, that is in Greenwood, which is in St. James. Now, people, somebody tell me if Greenwood is a garrison or Greenwood is a decent place. And I understand that random acts of violence can happen anywhere. However, if you are living, hanging out in a garrison, the chances are that increase substantially. Based on the information, it is said that at about 8:10, they were home. When it is said that some men roll up, invaded their premises, people hear all sorts of loud explosion. When the police came on the scene, they saw Mr. Cook slumped over the gate, and then the wife, 37-year-old, was laying down in a pool of her own blood on her face. It is said that the assailants took away the vehicle that belongs to Mr. Cook. Now, people, first thing first. Whenever you see a man 61-year-old and his wife is 37-year-old, do the maths, that is 20 plus years, a very vast age discrepancy, difference that is. I am not saying that love is not blind, but love is not fool. A lot of times these elderly men, and I am not going to say that that is the case in this case, them get PUSSY whip, them find themselves leaving their safe zone. When you talk about Canada, Canada is even more safer than United States of America. So this man was living a tranquil life in Canada. Don't know how he met Jem. However, based on the names, it seems as if they got married. Don't know if he was deciding to take up Jem, give her some sort of residency in Canada. However, that is not to be. Now, people, like me say, we've heard many stories of many men, especially elderly men, that find themselves because they are vulnerable and gullible. Fall in love with these young girls. A lot of times, these young girls are just using them for finance. So therefore, these elderly men from foreign are minister of finance. And then you have these younger men that are the minister of work. A lot of times, these ladies are giving the minister of works the money from the minister of finance. A lot of times, these women are in relationship with mad young youths that don't have any sorts of sense of a violent nature. Whenever them hear say the woman a date an older man, sometimes them get the feelings, even if they are the beneficiaries. Sometimes they will plot and scheme the robbery and DEATH of this new man, the older man, and even take out the girlfriend right in the whole melee. Don't know, don't have any sorts of evidence to substantiate those claims, but me just say, like I've always said, don't start no ish, won't be no ish. Don't look for love in the wrong place or worse, the wrong person, especially in a Jamaica where it is very dangerous, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, this is the perfect example of there's always three sides to every story. The residents in the garrison side, the police side, and the side of truth that is supposed to be uncovered by Indicom, even though that is not always the case. I am speaking about an incident that took place on a place called Crescent Road where a man, Brandon Reed, known as Redman in the street, lost his life at the hands of the police. Like I said, there are two sides to the story. The residents are claiming that he is an innocent man. The only thing that he do is smoke weed, buy weed, chill. He has no sorts of problem with anybody, including the police. As a matter of fact, the day in which he lost his life, he had left his home to go and buy some weed. The place had kind of locked down because there was a gang feud, so therefore he did not get the weed that he went to buy. Based on the police side of the story, it is said that they rolled upon the scene where Mr. Reed was. They came under immense fire. Then wheel and pop off, returned the fire after the smoke cleared, the cliche script. Mr. Reed was seen clutching on to a tool, could not clutch on to his life. Indicom will have the final outcome, hopefully. So people, I am going to let you hear what the residents and all involved had to say as it pertains to Mr. Reed, and then I am going to give my piece. Take a listen, take a look.
We want justice. We want justice. We want justice to Mukoso. Justice. Mukoso and a gunman. Brandon Reed. On the take Brandon Reed innocent life.
They come out to buy weed. When the people buy with the shop black, them a come back. And the police send back. All my dead people like them now with my gun. Them shoot him up and jump on the wall and shoot him and jump on the ground. Them still a fire and fight. They go up on the knee and say, please don't. I'm a can't see it, I'm a can't help me, I'm not scare me, Them still in the after them say I shoot up, no gun. What a gun there? No gun. And innocent, that's it, them kill innocent again. Head and kick. I feel innocent never come kill justice, man. Them kill innocent last week, a bad man kill him, police will come say no, we don't get a justice. Every week, sir. No more justice.
We have put up on the road, we have put up on the lookout, we have to have man to defend it. And look out, because we don't nobody for look out the whole of we are going to die.
So people, like I said, there was a fiery protest, the resident them Black Road, burn up all sorts of stove, all sorts of stuff. Inconvenient for other persons going about their business. because they said that it was extrajudicial takeaway of this youth, 19-year-old. Him not have no problem with nobody, none at all. There's a gang feud in the era, that is why the police was present. You even heard one resident said, listen, some of these youth, them have to defend the place because we lose one last year, we lose the next one this week, and then a week later we lose Brandon. If these people are not present, and I am assuming that they are speaking about Brandon Reed Redman, then the people wouldn't just run in. So people, based on what we're seeing, based on what the police said, it seems as if Mr. Brandon was doing his job as an enforcer or security for the era. Unofficially, that means that him a gunman, he is a protector of the era. And he was caught and lost his life in the line of duty, so it seems. People, at the end of the day, the police made it very clear. Whenever they see you with any sorts of illegal tool, especially under the present climate as Jamaica is in, the chances are you're not going to survive. You're not going to be taken in. You're going to be taken out without a shadow of a doubt. And it seems as if that is the case as it pertains to Mr. Redman. Him get all sorts of red all over his body. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.